Hi, dreamers. This is Debbie Happy Cohen with Joy Based Living, where we help you bring your impossible dreams to life with joy. And I want to talk with you today about something very important, that 4 steps to help you coach yourself into making impossible dreams come to life in your own life. And I'm calling that process quantum leap coaching, because it defies the limitations of time and space, honestly, truly, because as human beings, we are not meant to be driving in first gear and second gear. We are meant to be driving in fifth gear, driving down the road, having a great time, fast with speed and joy. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, what's my trajectory? What do I really want? And the way that you answer that question is, does it bring a light to your eyes? And if you're really good at BSing yourself, you want to ask this question around a really good friend. Like, for example, I'm working with one friend on a real estate business, but I know that one of her other loves, because she loves the land on this mountain, one of her other loves is art. And so now she's incorporating that, and the last person she sold a house to, she gave them a piece of art that she had created. And this woman was so delighted. She was like, would you please give me a larger piece of that? I love it so much. So she's brought her joy into the experience, and has really exceeded so many of her goals as a result of that and a few other things. So your trajectory is your path. Part of what's motivating me to do this video is that I've been restructuring, clarifying the ebook, the JBL 12 practices. And practice number 6 used to be goal setting. It is no longer goal setting. Now it is about trajectory and milestones. Your trajectory is your path. Because what I've noticed is I help set trajectories for people. And then all of a sudden they look back and they're like, oh my God, I made all that money. I lost all that weight. How did that, what just happened? And I never pressured them to go do it. And I've been coaching people for about 20 years. And so the popular thing was goals, goals, goals. And I'm like, something's off. When you're reaching for goals, your brain is not working on all cylinders. If you're not reaching for something way bigger than you, it's not going to be magical. So getting into fifth gear means, what would I love to experience, to create, to contribute? What would I love? What would really juice me up? And let your mind just go there. Is it believable? Not necessarily to you, but is it believable to your coach or to somebody who's working with you? Because sometimes I'm working with somebody, it's not quite believable to them, and then I have them take steps 2, 3, and 4, and then all of a sudden they look back and like, oh my God, how did I do that? So is it believable, and is it grand, and is it aligned with your most cherished values? Because if it isn't, what's the point? So for example, for me, I value honesty, I value spunk, I value compassion, and I value beauty. And when those 4 top values are my path that I walk, I'm thrilled no matter how far I've gotten or how far I haven't gotten. And so then the path becomes joyful. So remember, the clue here for the trajectory is, does it light your eyes up? Does it make your eyes sparkle? And if it does, you're on the right track. Step 2 is, this is really important, and it's priorities. Priorities means you're rooted in reality. So there was one person I've been working with this year who's having groundbreaking success right now in her career. And you don't have to do this for a career. You can just do this for having more of a life that you love. So priorities. It took us a year. Oh, no, not a year, close to a year. First, we had to clean out her house and her living room and her paperwork. Then we had to establish systems for her paperwork. Then we had to establish systems for her computer and have her get a new phone. Like, all these things had to happen over time. And all that time I kept looking, I kept going, she's going there, she's going there, she's going there. So the goal wasn't, you need to clean your house. That's how she loved to talk to herself. And I do that because that's like a whipping stick. It's a shame stick. I had one person recently, like, she complains that she's really overweight and she really has a hard time, and she was sitting on her couch all the time. And all of a sudden she was like more active, and she was so like, wow. And I said, well, what do you attribute that to? And she said, because attribution is very important. She said, well, I didn't go to the gym. Like, that was her first answer. And I said, notice, that's a shame stick. I never asked you if you went to the gym. After a few conversations with her, she was getting up off the couch more often. I said, what do you attribute that? She couldn't tell me. Well, I knew what it was. I knew that part of what she had been facing or not facing or stuffing was a lot of her joy up on top and a lot of her shame. So when you stuff this and you stuff that, which a lot of our culture does, and you only let yourself feel some of the things in the middle, like anger and rage and pride and, up here is courage and willingness. That's like a breakthrough to get to the top. But when you cover these things, that's a lot of suppressed energy. That's like nuclear power working against yourself. Do you want that? I don't want that for you. So priority for her was, I wanted her to face these things with gentleness and with compassion, but with almost heartbreaking honesty. Because the more honest you are, the more power you have to set yourself free from your own chains. So that is a huge priority. So what happens as a priority? Priority is, what do you need to clear away emotionally? And they could be fears about your future. They could be memories or traumas about your past. They could be relationships, like people who, for example, go to like Alcoholics Anonymous. One of the first things they're told is, you can't keep hanging around with the old crowd. So if you have impossible dreams and you're hanging around a bunch of naysayers, that ain't good. So people have told me all my life, like, I live in a bubble. Well, guess what? Number one, I love my bubble. Number two, I now have structures that my bubble is expanding more and more and more. And in fact, now people criticize me sometimes and tell me, you're just too happy. And I'm like, well, thank you very much. So rooted in reality means, okay, what needs to be cleared away? Also, what needs to be developed or enhanced? So getting this person's computer systems up and that kind of a thing. By the way, I want to say something about that. Sometimes we complain a lot about technology. And I understand that, because it can be really freaking annoying. And man, I've been there. However, I have reverence for technology because it's what's connecting us. It's what's giving us the opportunity to have these amazing conversations. And when you think about it with that kind of reverence, you begin to have more patience around it, and you actually bless the technology. So sorry, Mr. Printer, for getting so mad at you yesterday. I was fuming yesterday. But it helps me to communicate and to create pretty things like this. So it could be, the things to develop could be your focus, your skills, your tools, your office setup. I have a ton of paint markers now that I didn't have a few months ago. And also another thing to develop is time to pause. That is so important, especially in our world today. One of my friends gave me a beautiful birthday card this year, and it says, I love hanging out with you. Sorry, we were trying to figure out how to put it into the village, and we put stickers and anyway, it says, I love hanging out with you. And there's 2 sloths there. Well, a lot of my friends joke with me that I'm a sloth because I have a tendency to go slow. And what I also know about them is that even though it drives them crazy sometimes, that they really appreciate that about me, because I'm the one who questions and says, well, why do you want to go in that direction? Why is that important to you? What if you step back and made a little bit of a different decision? You might get like very different results. So priorities, this takes a lot of thought. And I wrote a note here that says, it's only possible to move through the changes that this step frequently requires if you're deeply committed to your trajectory. Because otherwise you won't get through phase 2 to even get through 3 and 4, because you'll get stuck in trying to clean out the clutter from your house, or you'll get stuck and you'll make it about that. And then you'll beat yourself up. You'll be like, oh, I can't lose weight. Oh, I can't do this. I just can't clear out my house. Well, that's because you're driving in second gear. give yourself a bigger dream and your house will get cleaned out, because now you're living for something much bigger, and it has to do with love, because love is power. And when the light in your eyes is shining for real, authentically, that's love. And so then you're showing up power. So we're going to go on to number 3. And number 3, I got to keep hiding the one that comes next. I don't want you to see everything. And number 3 is rhythm. Rhythm is your life. Rhythm is like if you think of a train on its tracks. I've been spending like the last couple months upgrading Joy-Based Living, for example, to help more people get on board and feel comfortable getting on board. Well, that's taken a lot of inner breakthroughs and breakdowns and breakthroughs, and also outer, having to learn different things about technology, and even breaking down these steps for you so that you can do them yourself. If you could coach yourself this way, do it. If you need help, we are here to help you at Joy-Based Living. Rhythm. The question I have for this is, what main actions will continually move you in the direction of your trajectory in a way that will bring you and others joy? You deserve a rhythm of daily life that brings you the most joy possible, because when you're feeling the most joy possible, guess what you exude? You exude that. I have another block that I want to share with you from the JBL Village, and that is my favorite. I think this is, what do you call it when it's like, you live into something? The Statue of Liberty. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, first generation American. My family was from Israel, and before that, Iraq. And so that makes me a very strange bird. The Statue of Liberty was like a hero to me, but hero is not even the right word. I'm not an archetype that I live into to the best of my ability, which really, I think, drove a lot of my family crazy. And here's something I wrote recently. Joy without freedom is limited. Freedom without joy is pointless. And I see a lot of people in our country right now fighting for our rights and fighting for what's right. I hope that those same people are going home at night and smiling to their children and enjoying moments with themselves of laughter. My vision is that people all around the world are having belly laughter around dinner tables with people that they love and who love them, because otherwise you end up getting freedom, but you've missed the boat. So remember the boat. Remember that this moment is your life. This moment is the only moment that there is. And when you're making the most of this moment, your life becomes full. So what does it mean to have this rhythm? What's the main action? So for example, with one person that I'm working with, I knew from the very beginning of working with her, and she doubled her income in the last year, that if she was sending out thank you cards on a regular basis to the people that she was working with, that was going to create milestones. That was a sign that she was right on track. It means that her systems are organized, she's on top of things, she's ahead. She's actually living in what I call quadrant 2. That's from Stephen Covey, actually, which means she's living inside of activities that are important but not urgent. A lot of people are living in urgency and fear. That's, important and urgent. Oh my God, I gotta. And you see this in people, even in the mall or on the street or whatever. And so the rhythm is, I wrote this, you're not an animal. Even an animal doesn't deserve to be beaten with a stick or whipped into shape with shame or with any sort of punishment. And when you have a specific, like I know for me right now, what's coming next is I'm going to be doing a lot of these videos to help introduce Joy-Based Living to more people and to help the people in Joy-Based Living get an even deeper sense of what it is we're doing and how we can coach each other even better. So for what's coming up for me in the future, this is part of my rhythm now. So you're going to be seeing more of me and the Joy-Based Living Village. This is my life. I love this. And I love seeing the people around me light up. And that's what's been happening over the last 2 years. The reason this shift is happening from goals to trajectory and a path with milestones is because it's working. And that's the last piece of the coaching. Number 4 is milestones. Oh my God, I just did that. Because what I've been doing is I'm helping people, like one person, I helped her get ready for a presentation, and we created new business cards for her. We created a PowerPoint presentation for her that didn't have any words, just images, and just really shared her story. And she a form for getting new clients, and she did all that. And then a few months later, she wrote a book. This all happened in like 6 months. And then a few months later, I said, well, I said, you paid me a lot of money for coaching. I'd like you to add up how much money you made as a result of coaching. And she made almost double. So that was like a milestone, but she didn't know that until she looked back. So the milestone, what's important about the milestones is milestones are not goals. Milestones are, I have another person I work with who every time there's a full moon or a new moon, she writes in her Google journal something that she calls the do-rights. And she thinks about the last 2 weeks, and she thinks about, here's what I did right. And she writes it down, because what you focus your attention on grows. And you'll surprise yourself. You will blow yourself away if you do this. The milestones give you a reason to celebrate every day. So one of my milestones now, I was told by 2 people who I trust, it would be nice, Debbie, if you would spend as much time relishing in your accomplishments as you do planning them. And so I have a place where I write now, and they have to be things that are personal to me, that aren't like, oh, I did a video today, but more like, I watched a video that made me laugh, or I got my nails done, or I did something that was just for me, and relishing in the feeling of comfort and love and joy. This gives you the opportunity to celebrate baby steps along the way, which leads up to your trajectory. Then all of a sudden you're living your trajectory every day of your life. So I'll tell you one more person. She said that she wants everybody that she works with, she wants everybody in the world to awaken empowered. And she sells a health product that has changed everybody's life in her family, including her dogs. And to live that every day means so much to her. So then her milestones become, oh, I had a conversation with this person. Or for her, the milestones are, I always have at least a couple of events on my calendar where I meet people face to face, because part of looking back at milestones is saying, well, how did those new people all get to know me? Wow, I met all of them at events. Now that was true for her. That's not true for everybody. So looking back, attribution, and saying, oh, well, that's powerful. Then for my milestones, for my trajectory, let me make sure I always have something on my calendar, events on my calendar where I'm actually meeting people face to face. So that's the end of this video. For Quantum Leap Coaching, the 4 steps are: have an amazing trajectory that makes your eyes light up. Make sure that your priorities are rooted in reality. Clear out the crap. Bring on the good stuff. Get help if you need to. Rhythm. This is your life. This is the heartbeat. This is your every day. What main actions are moving you forward? And milestones are looking back. Oh, I just did that, and I just did that, and I just did that too, and it's awesome. I wish you the most joy on your journey ever possible, and I'm going to leave you with one more note. I know that this is usually said differently, but I'm going to say it differently today. With joy, all things are possible. I wish you joy, so much joy. Goodbye, everybody.